You know, in hindsight, why did we build the Nintendo Shack way out here? Like, seriously, Donnie, why? How is there even snow here? It's the end of freaking July. I think I see it up ahead. Yep, this is the place. Oh, there's a note on the door. Let's see. This land is hereby property of the Xbox Empire. Love, Nathan, Coach Mo, and Lobo Rican. Ugh. Really, guys, very funny. And Q even spells out his name like that? Oh, I mean, that's impressive. I'm not even mad. All right, let's find Jason and Donnie. What's that noise?
Hello, it's me, Mario.
What the heck are you doing here?
Mamma mia, I'm tired.
You know what? I don't even care. You don't even pay rent here. When's the last time you even worked? All right, whatever. You need to go. But do you know where Jason and Donnie are? I really gotta find them. We gotta get this show on the road here.
Okie dokie, let's go.
Oh, finally, here you guys are. You will not believe what I just had to go through to get here. But anyway, thanks, Mario. Time to start the show, guys.
Arrivederci. Here we go.
Oh, hey guys. Donnie, I see you wore your Nintendo shoes. And Jason, I must say those Pikachu socks are quite dapper. Well, you know, what we're here to talk about tonight, guys, is the Nintendo NX rumors. We dusted out the old Nintendo Shack and laid down some good, nice new shag carpeting for everybody to come join us today as we discuss it. Eurogamer had gotten quite a few confirmations of leaks, so it's pretty much safe to say at this point that this stuff is no longer rumor. But now it's details out there. Everybody's reporting on it, from Wall Street Journal to Time Magazine to, you know, of course, your IGNs, and you heard it early with us as well. So here's a brief overview of what's going on right now. After years of speculation and a missed E3 showing this past year, the Nintendo NX finally has some details leaking out, courtesy of Eurogamer, who broke it first. They confirmed that the successor to the Wii U and 3DS is a portable, handheld console with detachable controllers and the option to connect it to a TV, and will be powered by NVIDIA Tegra technology. As well as word on the hardware, there's also details on the form factor, the media format it's going to use to run games, technical specs, early confirmed software, and more. So I think we'll just run through the rumors and kind of talk, not rumors anymore, kind of the details we do have at this point, and kind of break it down and discuss each piece as we go along. So let's dive right into it, gentlemen. And the first topic we will kind of talk about here is the controllers themselves and the TV connection. So what they're currently stating is that it's a Nintendo handheld system with a screen that basically on either side has controllers that can be attached and detached as required based on the game or the format you're playing in. They're also stating that a built-in stand will allow the device to stand upright, much like a Microsoft Surface tablet, allowing you to use the controllers to play the games kind of at a distance as you would maybe playing on a laptop or, like I said, the Surface. As well as playing on the go, you can also connect the NX to a base unit or docking station, probably similar to the charging unit that the Wii U currently uses, so that games can be displayed on the TV at home. So it's almost a reversal of the Wii U, where instead you have a home console where the tablet lets you kind of go away from the TV, but not fully. This one's kind of reverse engineered the other way. In hindsight, it does kind of make a lot of sense, considering back in 2013, Nintendo merged both its handheld and hardware divisions together under one roof, most likely kind of to start working on the NX as it came out. So, Donnie, what do you think so far on the details we have of basically the format and design of what the NX is supposedly supposed to look like?
Well, it's a lot like the NVIDIA Shield tablet, which I've actually owned. I won one from Engadget last year, and I kept it for a few months before I ended up selling it. It's an interesting concept. I love the idea that it's a portable. I mean, I'd like to get that out of the way first. I mean, the one thing that excites me most is the fact that this is a portable gaming system, which I've really grown to love in the last few years. It's where I play probably the majority of my gaming right now, so the portability factor and being able to take it on the go is incredible. Now, if they have the ability to also push that image to a TV without losing any quality, especially a big screen TV, then that's just icing on the cake. The thing about the controllers is, we need to see it. Like, it's going to be really hard to reserve any judgment on that. It sounds cool. Like, when you say it out loud, you're like, detachable controllers, so you and a friend can play. And you're like, okay, I understand that. But then you start thinking, like, I start thinking about it from a product standpoint, trying to explain the message to people. Yep. You start saying we have a tablet with detachable products and things are breaking off and moving. As a parent, I can already thinking like parents going, well, are my kids going to lose them?
Geez,
and
yeah.
Like, do you need both to play it all the time? What if we lose one or leave one behind? And so I'm like, we've got to see it.
Yeah.
If we, it's very possible that due to Nintendo's really bang up, engineering team, we may see it and be like, oh, makes a ton of sense. It looks great. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I would doubt if they're not going to release anything that's subpar. So I'm not on that, train of thought. But it's unique. It's unlike anything we've seen before. I think it's unfortunate that this news got leaked before Nintendo was willing to show it. But that's the risk you run when you hold on to it this long. I mean, the games are actively in development for it. So stuff like this is going to leak if you don't get out in front of it. So right now, Nintendo, unfortunately, has to deal with everybody's running imaginations.
I agree. And it's funny, if you Google right now the concept art that Eurogamer kind of mocked up based on people's descriptions of it, when I read the details first before actually seeing any of these pictures. In my mind was something completely different as far as detachable controllers. For some reason, my mind instantly went to like SNES, where it was like, oh, you can plug this controller in and play, but maybe the tablet portion has its own buttons like the Wii U gamepad does. And I didn't think that they would actually be detachables in the sense that they were built on and removable. I was thinking it was like plug and play type thing.
I went the opposite way, to be honest with you. I thought, okay, I see that you have a left-hand controller and a right-hand controller and that they plug into the tablet. When they said detachable, my thought was you detach them from the tablet, you put the tablet on the docking station, and then you attach the left and the right hand together to make a controller.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's kind of where and then I before we go too far, I'll even admit that then my brain started going down the negative path and wondering if they would release bigger and better tablets to go in between your left and right. I was, oh no! The XL is going to come next year. Right. It's faster and stronger. So
I'll tell you though, I'm in the same thought of mind as you in this. As I'm excited about the thought of a possibility of a portable console. It kind of almost fulfills what I initially thought the Wii U was going to be. When they're like, hey, you can play just on the tablet and go. And okay, once I actually got the Wii U and I tried it, it's like, yeah, I can go like a room over. If I went any farther than that, it would disconnect from the console and be dead to me. So it really wasn't portable. If this really is going to be this way, I think it's awesome. But before, let's get to Jason. So Jason, you've said actually quite a few times to us recently that you foresee your, for the next couple of months at least, your gaming pretty much tied to the 3DS at this point. So coming from that aspect, where you're deep into portables, what's your thoughts on the form factor here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally okay with it because honestly, a lot of the time when I even have played my Wii U, it would be in the off-screen mode. I'd be playing on the gamepad itself just because, in my household, we only have just the one television. And I mean, otherwise it'd be in the basement. But if I want to be able to play something and hang out in the same space with other people, that's why I love the Wii U. I could just, grab the gamepad. So much like with my 3DS now too. So being able to continue doing something like that, I think is great. And then if I have the option to I want to play on the TV, I can just plug it in. I'm really interested to see if these are a type of a removable controller of sorts. And like Donnie's saying too, if it's speculating that it's something that you can combine together, that's just thinking about that. That's some impressive technology.
Yeah.
Like just to think of that. And it kind of reminds me of how, Google, is it Google? I think it's working on, they have like a modular smartphone.
Yep.
And then, you can just piece it out, put all these random bits together, and you have a phone. So that's pretty crazy. And when this first was announced, I immediately thought of, you might remember, I guess I'll say a failed device, the Razer Edge Pro gaming tablet.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Which kind of had the same thing. I had a little cradle sort of that the tablet would snap into, and you had, a thumbstick and buttons on the one side and everything, and you could just detach it from that. And obviously, I I think Nintendo's going to be able to do something a lot better than what Razer could, and technology's just come a lot further than this point. But I'm interested. I think we're not. Like, I believe that, let's face it, I've been pretty skeptic in our chats and things like that, and I think that this is the direction that we're going to see. I think there's just some more details, which I'm sure there are, that we gotten the whole picture yet. I think really interested to see what, like, the base unit is going to be. Yeah. You know, and if that's going to have any way to increase the power of the handheld or, you know, offset processing in some way, because this thing's going to be able to run Breath of the Wild now. Right. Not, you know, it's on Wii U. It looked like a really awesome game. So visually, so thinking of a handheld that's going to do that. We'll get one little bit into specs and hardware power. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but you know, I love the idea that I'd be able to snap it on the television when I want to play that way. I can take it on the go. I'm interested to see if we'll have any other previous gen support, like maybe a Pro controller support at least, something like that. I don't think we'll see, you know, Wii controller hookups or anything of that nature, but
it's got to have some sort of motion.
No.
It does. I mean, Just Dance is
that's
confirmed.
That's
I mean,
right,
I guess you can use your phone. You know, I've been hearing that, you know, like people can play with their phones on PlayStation and stuff. So I guess you could do that, but I don't think they would have jumped out and said that, you know, Just Dance 5 or 56 or whatever number they're on, it's coming to NX if, you know, it didn't have some sort of tie-in with that.
What if
I want to piggyback on your docking station, you know, rumor and postulation with, you know, when the news dropped from Eurogamer, and it's been, you know, it's subsequently been independently verified by more than a few folks, so it feels safe in saying that it's not really a rumor anymore. Everybody said the docking station just exports the signal to the TV, and I actually believe that's probably what it's going to do. That makes a lot of sense. With the NVIDIA Shield tablet, you just plugged it, had an HDMI port on the tablet, and you could do that, and it's cheap. However, it's not real elegant, and it's not very Nintendo. Nintendo's going to give you something you just drop in, and it goes.
Right.
So I think that's what their docking station is going to do. However, Nintendo was granted a patent today for a supplemental computing device where you have box A plugs into box B and box B supercharges box A.
Okay.
So, I mean, they have a patent for something that could do that. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying it's going to do it on an X, but I would say to reserve judgment. And if it's not there at launch, you know, they have a patent for something that could possibly do it later on.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, everybody else is doing their upgraded hardware now with the, you know, Xbox, what do you call it? Scorpio and the, you know, the Neo on PS4, so why not? Nintendo does it a year or two from now afterwards.
Sure, and if this is just a, you know, if you can buy a power box that just plugs in, and all you're plugging it into is a docking station, then all of a sudden, you know, your footprint is still extremely small.
Oh yeah.
You know, so you know you're half the size, or probably, you know, no bigger than a console, and I mean that's a nifty approach. It's just like plugging in a hard drive.
Like I'm still going much on the point too that I believe it was Kimishima had said it, the one statement has how it was the NX was drastically, it was going to be radically different than what we've seen with Wii U and 3DS, because I feel like there's another component to the NX that we just don't know about yet.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just a handheld that connects to the television. It's just from I mean, well, we've seen our interpretations and mock-ups, but that just alone is too gamepad-esque in a way. So I think there's something more radical that we just don't know about yet that goes along with this initial report.
I think you're right in the sense that, sorry, Kevin. Okay. Kimishima also was the one standout has been very publicly noted. He was like the one standout Nintendo that didn't believe in the Wii U.
Yeah.
So for him to not enjoy the Wii U concept and then back a Wii U that's just portable based over hardware based sounds like a stretch. You know, it's not above, you know, plausibility, but it sounds like a stretch. So I'm actually going to lean with you, Jason. There's another shoe to drop here.
I agree. So I think to sum up the whole form factor and controllers and connections aspect, I think we can safely all say that all three of us are on board with the form factor. We like the portability and ability to play on the TV, and we're just kind of all on the fence on what's the deal with the controllers per se, and is there something we don't know yet to come down the pipeline. So let's move on to the specs and the hardware that we have around the power here. So Nintendo NX is being powered by NVIDIA's mobile Tegra processor with development kits using X1 chip that's already in use as for the Shield Android TV console and the Google Pixel C tablet. As with the Wii U, DS, and 3DS, it's another hardware that they're already kind of saying it will not compete with the PS4 or Xbox One in visuals. But the main benefit of using the Tegra chips is to gain energy efficiency, battery life, and power, which is kind of all the things you need in a portable system when you think about it. We all had 3DSs, the battery life was When you use the 3D, it would totally kill it, and they kind of made it better with the new Nintendo 3DS, if you will. So it looks like they're focusing on the biggest things, which is going to be, how long is battery life going to last? It's going to be, powerful, more powerful than what we're looking at. They're saying, right off the bat, it's going to have basically the chip's going to line up and be able to run at 720p with 60 frames per second. But basically, it's going to be about 2 times more powerful than the Wii U is what they're saying. Obviously, if it is the new chip that's being rumored that isn't fully out in the market yet, then we're looking at something pretty powerful, which, yes, it will not compete with the Xbox or the PS4, which I'm okay with. When you think about Nintendo, their game design has always been a little bit different, where they'll still have a beautiful-looking game, but they'll go more on the artsy side versus the realism side. And that works for their franchise when you think about your Marios and your Metroids and your Zeldas. Like, sure, it may be interesting to see a real-life aspect to it, but I think focusing more on the other aspects of the gaming experience, whatever may still be yet to be announced as far as what this thing can do. But the battery life is going to be very important, because I said that to Donnie right off the bat when they first kind of leaked this out, that I may wait a year, because every time I've bought a freaking Nintendo handheld, they come up with the one that has a better battery life and a bigger screen, 6 to 8 months later, and I always feel ripped off. But I'm always a Nintendo loyalist, so I always buy the console when it first comes out, and
then buy the next one.
Exactly. So it kind of begrudgingly, if they address this issue right off the bat with the X2 version of the chip, which is what's being rumored, then I think it's a great move forward. So since Donnie went first last time, Jason, what's your thoughts on the chip design?
I'm excited about the chip, and I had to familiarize myself with it, because I wasn't too familiar with that mobile gaming space and what it was capable of, and I've seen some videos and stuff, at least especially the article that the initial Eurogamer dropped. That had a lot of good stuff in there about the NVIDIA Tegra technology and everything like that. Now, what's interesting about it, you have to acknowledge right away, it's an NVIDIA chip, and Nintendo historically has always worked with AMD. And much like, Xbox and PlayStation also all are on the x86 architecture, and this is going to be, something drastically different. NVIDIA's never has never won anything in the gaming space. It's always been AMD has taken that mantle. So, interesting enough, I came across, Super Metal Dave 64 had released a video on his opinion on everything, and he very much believes that that this is the direction that NX is going, but he doesn't quite buy into everything that's Eurogamer's reporting, because if you look back to 2009, apparently they had released an article about the 3DS, which was coming out at the time, and stated from credible sources that have been confirmed that it was going to run, the 3DS was going to run on an NVIDIA chip, and that wasn't the case. So I don't know about that. I think it makes sense for them to pair with NVIDIA, and I'm really hoping we are going to see this come out on the Tegra 2, that new chip that you mentioned. And if it is like the Tegra 1, that could very much just be a placeholder that's been in use. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I like the power. It's impressive, the power ratio that something that small has, and it's just crazy how the mobile space has just taken off in the year's time. And people always talk about how the argument's always made about how gangbusters the Wii did, and how Nintendo's process with that and how successful it was. But we didn't have mobile gaming back then. Smartphones weren't a thing, and that it's changed so much, because so much what Nintendo did so well is now done with smartphones. So it just makes sense now for them, again, kind of backpacking on what we had already said, that they're combining everything. The console, a portable, a smartphone. This is all kind of meshed into this one device. If we're getting out of a mobile chip, though, that's something that's more powerful than the Wii U console. I mean, that says a lot about the old Wii U in and of itself. But I don't know. It's I want more. I'm hungry. I need more information. I need the trigger to get pulled here. I really hope that we do get this the release or reveal in September that's been kind of touted as the rumored date that we'll find out more information.
Exactly. Donnie, how do you feel?
I'm super excited. Having had that NVIDIA Shield, I played games on it, native games. I played Metal Gear Rising on it, and it looks like a 360 game in your hands, 6 inches and less than a half inch thick, which is incredible. If you think about a 360 and how big it is, and think about how big the current Xbox One and PS4 are, to even be in the realm of that with something you could fit into a nice, cargo pocket is pretty incredible. Before I get into the NVIDIA stuff, I do want to say, it seems like this is being reported in a lot of different manners. One thing that really upset me on IGN's confirmation thing was that they immediately jumped out. Like, second sentence of the article was, the Nintendo NX is a portable console that's weaker than the Xbox One and the PS4. And then, like, 2 paragraphs later, literally in the same article, 2 paragraphs later, it stated, it's a super-powered portable that we've never seen before. So, like, on one hand, the people are going to rip it for not being the most powerful console ever. On the other hand, they're going to, prop it up as the most powerful portable ever. I don't feel like that's fair. You pick one. If you don't like it because it doesn't replace your PS4, that's fine. But don't sit there and say it's underpowered when it is by far, probably, if all this is true, by far the most powerful portable dedicated gaming device we've ever had. I'm hearing numbers like 3DS times 200, like Vita times 100. I've had that Shield. I can tell you it runs games better than the Vita. If it has the X2, there's no telling how far that will take it. One thing with the NVIDIA that I have seen people report on it with the NVIDIA Shield tablet, that is, a lot of people have reported, it runs these games and it runs them at better frame rates. I will, say in detriment, a lot of the games that came to Shield tablet looked like they lacked like real nice resolutions. Mm-hmm. So it's like a lot of the texture packs were low res, and then the frame rates were super high. I don't necessarily think that's a chip problem. I more or less think that's probably a market problem. I just think they were like, we're not going to sell 100,000 copies of Metal Gear Rising on this tablet, so let's not spend a whole lot of time in developing it. So I would point that way before you just look at the chip power. I've seen what the chip can do, and based on what Nintendo can do with a 3DS, this chip is. I feel like they can run Smash Bros. Wii U on this architecture. Now, Jason, there have been long rumors that NVIDIA has given Nintendo some sort of sweetheart deal.
Ooh.
On this. I've been seeing this for a long time, a very long time. NVIDIA was in very deep conversations with Microsoft back when the Xbox One was being finalized, and apparently they missed out, and it really hurt their budget. And the rumor, there's no specific way to confirm this, but the rumor that's been bannered around the internet for 6 or 8 months it's been a long rumor. You can find it on NeoGAF and other places, is that Nintendo entered this deal with NVIDIA and they gave them a really good deal on pricing. And that's something that we'll touch on later. But if that's true, this is a huge win for them.
Yeah.
Because if they can get this power and still keep the price down, that's incredible. So super excited in that regard. See if there's anything else I want to say just about NVIDIA or anything like that. Another thing, I'm checking our little agenda here to make sure I'm not missing something. One thing that I want to say is the one thing that popped to me with this chipset and this tablet design was storage. So,
yeah,
with it being a tablet, storage is going to be a concern.
True.
So let's go ahead and segue right into our next topic, Kevin.
See, that works out perfectly. So next, let's talk about backwards compatibility, physical media, and the operating system of the NX. So, as we know already, and we've heard this a few times, and we've seen some trademarks and stuff like that go through to confirm this, is that it's going back to cartridges. Discs will not be the form of physical media the NX will use. Instead, it's going to copy high-capacity discs like the 3DS does versus what the Wii U does. We first saw that hinted with the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It had included a cartridge-based trademark on there as well. So it's not fully confirmed like the Wii U and 3DS was to be able to download games, but I would assume that that's got to be coming with the tablet portable form factor. Right. I think downloadable games is going to be a given, so storage, like Donnie said, will be a concern there. One of the sources had said there are no plans for backwards compatibility, meaning the NX will be a clean break from the 3DS and Wii U, which supported the DS and Wii respectively, which in turn supported Game Boy and GameCube games at launch too. So it's kind of been a trend that they've just always kind of been backwards compatible since switching to disc format, and the portable format's been the same. So that's a little bit intriguing that they're not going to do that. But hey, if they're bringing Breath of the Wild over, then it doesn't, you don't need the backwards compatibility. They'll have its own version of it. And based on what we know so far, the design and the spirit of this device, that it makes sense that you wouldn't want to have the backwards compatibility. It's going to be a different type of beast altogether. They also noted that it will not be Android-based despite previous reports. It looks like Nintendo is once again doing their own operating system for it. And we should see, rumors are that the smartphone apps will be compatible on this device. So your Miitomo and the Animal Crossing game coming shortly, and Fire Emblem that's coming down the line. It looks like Nintendo's mobile apps will be also available on the NX, which I think is really smart and really cool at the same time. And I think it's kind of a given that we will see Amiibo support. That's hasn't been confirmed, but that's kind of a no-brainer. And then we are, expecting a virtual console again, I'm sure. And then they're saying with the cartridge base that there won't be region locking because they're not really. It's a lot harder to pirate the cartridge than it was the disc. So, what do you guys have to say about your storage, your backwards compatibility, physical media, and the operating system? Let's start with Donnie this time.
Backwards compatibility seems to be a given. I mean, they've been doing this, their Project Cafe architecture ever since, like, the GameCube. They just kind of keep iterating on it all the way through the Wii U. And going to an NVIDIA chipset and a tablet design really kind of throws that out the window. I mean, obviously they can't run discs, so Wii U backwards compatibility physical media is completely out of the question. Yeah. But I don't think that necessarily means you'll never play a Wii U game on the NX. Just because they don't launch and say it's completely backwards compatible with everything that you've bought doesn't mean that, we may never see Splatoon or Smash Bros, get ported over. It would just be a different version of the game that you would have to rebuy.
Yeah, which goes along with that earlier, we've heard, I don't know how many months ago was that there were rumors that there would be ports of Smash Bros. and Splatoon and other games to NX. So.
Yeah, we heard that Mario Kart was the other one that was mentioned too, yeah.
So my one big fear when I started in analyzing the NX was, boy, I really hope when it comes to storage that they adopt the SD storage, compatibility. And it sounds like they will with the carts. It looks like, you'll be able to carry, I think the rumor is 32 gig cartridges. So, that's a lot of storage for a game. And then I hope, there's some on-device storage, and then I hope that they let you supplement storage with some sort of micro SD or SD cards. I really hope it's not proprietary. Please don't do the Vita thing. Gosh. Yeah. That'll be a really bad, hard pill to swallow if they do like some $400 memory card like Vita does. It's ridiculous.
I don't think they'll do it. You figure with the 3DS, it's always been SD card. The Wii and the Wii U is SD card. So I think we're safe there.
So I hope that's the case. I hope we get some sort of 3DS virtual console. It usually is a generation behind, so I think that's not out of the realm of possibilities, getting some support for 3DS on virtual console. One thing that I thought about with this, if you have to dock the tablet and to play it on the TV, then you can't dual screen game.
Nope.
So this is almost like a break from dual screen gaming altogether. So if that's the case, maybe you can't do any 3DS games.
That's true.
And maybe that rules some of those out. Not every 3DS game uses dual screens, but most of them do. Some Wii U games do. I just think that would be hard to do. Like, how do you play Mario Maker without the second screen? Like, nobody wants to toggle back and forth, I presume. I don't know. Maybe they make that happen, but I feel like nobody wants to. I don't know. It's just something that I thought of. the operating system here is key. Whether they go Tegra 2 or Tegra 1, I mean, we hope Tegra 2 is the case. And I think Tegra 2 is the case with the simple fact that Tegra 2 doesn't come out till next month, and that completely explains why we didn't see an X at E3.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and that completely explains why NX isn't coming this fall and is coming in March. If the Tegra 2 doesn't release till next month in August, that means they get August, September, October, November, December, January, February. They get 7 months to manufacture.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of time to manufacture.
Definitely.
I mean, I think they can crank out some units. Probably not as, you know, if they have a real big hit on their hands, there'll be shortages like the Wii. But they can meet initial demand, I think, in that time frame of manufacturing. That's a good amount of time, and that's a good explanation. Now, if it's Tegra 1, even if it's Tegra 1, I mean, the Tegra 1 is providing, I mean, dare I say, 360-esque visuals on top of an Android operating system. And if you've ever had an Android phone, you know how much power and processing that's robbed in the background. So them developing their own OS, if it is Tegra 1, that should free up a lot of resources for developers to run on. Also, I feel like them running their own OSs, I never thought it was going to be Android-based for the simple reason the Jason Lacey's that live in the world. I mean, they're not going to let people root this and divide, you know, and try to hack it and break it and all that. They're going to lock that down as far as they possibly can. So best of luck to you, Jason. Have fun trying to figure it out.
Hey, we've hacked every other Nintendo device, so why stop now?
Yeah, that's true.
That is true, but I mean, it's really hard. It's a lot of work. So I like that OS. And then, I mean, if it is a tablet, I will go out and say, I mean, Nintendo apps will be supported for sure, but there'll definitely be some cross-app stuff. I feel like that's a huge win for Nintendo in this regard. If they do a tablet that's a gaming device, there's going to be such an easy platform for them to just port over the Netflix app and let Netflix develop it and update it, and port over the Amazon TV app and port over the HBO Go app or whatever app that they want to approve. I'm sure there'll be, you know, an iOS approval rating, so like there will be no self-publishing on Nintendo's device.
Oh, no.
But you know, these big companies that put all this time and money into app development, I'm sure, you know, Nintendo will just be like, yep, we'll greenlight it, and now you can take that app on the go on your Nintendo device. And I think that's really neat. You know, the Pokemon Go thing is like a huge thing, and this is a way of getting Pokemon Go in the hands of kids, like on a device that parents can buy for them without feeling like, you know, they're opening them up to the grandeurs of the internet. And then, you know, this also is a tablet replacement for many, if possible. You know, like me, I've got an iPad that I never use, and I would totally replace it with a Nintendo version of an iPad if it's got awesome controls and plays games and does all these things that we're thinking about. So that's one of my concerns. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here too early, Kevin, but one of my concerns is that this device seems to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. It seems like it appeals a little bit to a lot of different people, but I don't feel like it has a dedicated market. Like, you can market it to some people that, like, want a tablet. You can market it to some people that want a portable device. You can market it to some people that want to play Nintendo games on their TV. But because it's so spread out, I think the messaging on this thing is going to be crucial. Absolutely crucial. And if they come out, and September is the rumored date, as Jason mentioned, if they come out and they miss that, guys, this could be bad. This could be real bad.
I agree. I'm going to save my comments about that for the end during the final thoughts there. So, Jason, what do you think about the whole backwards compatibility, the media, and the OS?
You know, backwards compatibility, I don't care about anymore. I mean, it's not like I'm going to throw my Wii U out anywhere, so I still have that. And it just makes sense. I mean, I don't need that stuff. The stuff that's the older catalog stuff that I want to play, I'll probably be able to download it, which is, you know, I'm thinking about Virtual Console, stuff like that. And I'll have to pay for it again probably, but I'll be able to download it. Maybe there's hope that Nintendo will get some sort of universal account system together by then, and we'll remedy that. But that's the topic for another day. And if it's true that we do get some ports of existing games, if I want to play them, I guess I can do that. But I'd rather play like a newer iteration than keep playing some of the old stuff. I'm all about going back to cartridges. I don't have a problem with that versus discs. If nothing else, they're smaller and I can fit more of them into one place, especially if, you know, traveling, things like that. operating system wise, I haven't really put a whole lot too much thought into that. I just want something that's clean, easy to navigate, and is a little snappier than what the Wii U systems are.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see the whole talk with it being mobile and this and that too. I would like to see some of the more modern console features get supported, like some sort of better voice chat integration, things like that. But I don't know if we'll get that because it's going to be a non-conventional system. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm perfectly okay with not getting backwards compatibility, and I'm on board with everything that I've seen so far. I don't know. I do hope that maybe we get some sort of expandable memory or something like that, that we can have a lot of space to download. That's like the one issue I have on my Wii U is, I bought the what do I call it, the Premier Edition or whatever. I didn't buy the basic model, so I had that. Was that 64 gigs? Does that come with it? Or was it 32?
32, yeah.
So, and I never, I didn't have a external hard drive or anything like that, so I was just stuck with that space. So I hope that we have some option there that makes it a little easier. It'd be awesome if we can just plug in, hey, it's got some couple SD slots, and we can just throw in some 64 gig SD cards or things like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out, or maybe the base unit will have here. Just plug this drive into here. Who knows? Who knows what we're going to get here? And there's a lot more that I need to hear about. But I'm on board with everything, right? Yeah, woo. It's exciting. So I need more information. Nintendo, give it to me. I'm hungry.
Yeah. Absolutely. And keep in mind, you can't scratch a cartridge. Well, you can, but it doesn't really affect anything versus the discs. And I think the storage space, like you said, I think we'll see some sort of maybe external drive compatibility that will work with like the docking station, perhaps, if it doesn't plug directly into the unit. But keep in mind, if everything's going to be on disc based, you'll be able to do your game saves to the disc, to the cartridge rather. So you don't have to worry about taking up as much space when you pop in the disc and it installs to your drive. That it might still happen with this, but most likely it probably won't in this fashion. But all right, so
carts are important too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was sitting here thinking about it. A lot of people have come out and said that they're excited about the NX. There are a lot of video game devs and things like that. Two people that came out and said they're excited about NX is the CEO of GameStop and Best Buy. So, carts are very important to these people. Like these people want physical media. Yeah. We want less storage. We will either want storage enough to hold all of our games or physical media where we don't have to worry about storage. We want one or the other. We just don't want to be having to delete games to make room for other games and vice versa. So these people love the fact that, they're carts. And if it's small, then Nintendo, they even win on that regard too, because now they're not buying so much space. Now all their games fit in a little bitty, in a smaller section of the store, as opposed to, the big DVD cases. So, physical media I think is important. I really love actually the carts on 3DS. I was thinking about that, a couple weeks ago in the podcast. I said, I was thinking about getting a Nintendo 64. There's something, I don't know. It's just like comfort food, popping a card in that starting a digital tile just doesn't do for me.
All right, so while we're still speaking about games then, for a system that hasn't been officially announced by the actual company, Nintendo, we already know several games that are coming on the way. Dev kits have been in the hands of developers, as early as last year, with some companies already making announcements. So far, the confirmed games for the Nintendo NX, we don't really have to discuss this because it's just a list. We already knew, obviously, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was going to be on there, and then Just Dance 2017 was the first one announced by a third party. Since then, we also know that Dragon Quest XI, Project Sonic, as it's codenamed right now, will be out in 2017 as well. And then Pikmin 4, which has been talked about for a while, that it was in development and very close to completion for over a year now. It's confirmed that will be on the NX. It will not be making an appearance in the Wii U, which doesn't really surprise anybody there. And then, as we mentioned earlier, rumors are starting to swirl around of ports of the Wii U's most successful games to get the audience that, maybe didn't pick up a Wii U but are going to come back with the NX, including Super Mario Maker, Splatoon, Super Smash Bros., and Mario Kart 8 have been talked. Those are not confirmed, but those are being rumored by multiple sources as well as everything else. And then the next topic is kind of, we touched a little bit upon this before, is the release date, announcement news, and pricing. So NX is set to release globally in March 2017, which is later than the original assumption that we all thought it was going to be out in 2016 early in the year. But once E3 came and went, we realized that wasn't going to happen. They wanted to keep the focus on Legend of Zelda and save it until March. So when will we see the device? It's being rumored, kind of as Jason alluded to earlier. Everywhere is kind of saying September is going to be when Nintendo pulls the curtain back and kind of, whether it's a Nintendo Direct or it's at a trade show or however they decide to announce it, that's going to be when they make the big pop on it. Nintendo says one of the reasons was getting enough software ready for day one, not at launch, but they wanted to have enough titles to continually go out after the launch and not be like a dry spell of months and months before we get any more titles coming out. Cost, it's really not confirmed or really rumored, but it has been said by the president of Nintendo that the NX will not be sold at a loss. When the Wii U was launched, the yen was very strong. I'm assuming that the situation will not repeat itself. Selling at a loss at launch would not support the business, so we're keeping that in mind in developing the NX. Now, typically, Nintendo, as Jason said before, used like AMD chips, which generally were a little bit cheaper than using the NVIDIA. So with Nintendo priming itself to have a more quote-unquote powerful platform as far as portability, it's probably safe to say that this may not be cheap, although some rumors are saying it's going to be extremely cheap, but nobody's willing to put a price dollar on it. So my interpretation of cheap might be something entirely different of everybody else. So, like I said, March 2017, we already knew that. We'll probably see it unveiled in September. As far as pricing, for me, it makes sense that Nintendo will not sell it at a loss. They really can't do it right now.
Right.
They need this launch to go well and have the dollars to back it up, so it makes sense. Ideally for me, though, I think if I want to pull the trigger very early in day one, I want to say probably the cap for me is going to be like 300 to 350 on my end is what I would expect it to be at, and that's at a price range that I'd pull the trigger on. I think if they go higher than that, they're going to alienate some people that were probably on the fence about coming back to Nintendo, and I don't think they can realistically sell it for cheaper than that and still make money. So, Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, let's completely understandable. They can't sell at a loss. That kind of bit them in the past. Wasn't the Wii U? They sold the Wii U at a loss, if I am correct. So, and that didn't exactly work out. And especially right now, you've got nothing to support the Wii U, so it's just stagnant. You're losing money all this time until this launch. I'm right there with you at that pricing ballpark, and then we've heard some reports that it's going to be cheaper than everyone expects. So I mean, what does that mean? I mean, could it possibly be at a $200 ballpark, which seems insane to me?
That's insane, but it'd be awesome. But it'd be insane.
I mean, I would be. I read there's a pretty good article. I'm pretty sure all the pieces I'm thinking of also came from Eurogamer, and it talked about why the NX needs to be different, and they need to target an impulse buy type of thing. And if they get that price point, that's exactly what it would come down to is people be like, oh, this is only X amount of dollars. Oh, why not? I like those games. I like Mario. Buy it. We just don't know. We don't know. If it is too expensive though, it's not gonna work because I think too many people are gonna be like, well, look, what can you get? You can get an Xbox One for $250. You can get a PS4, I think, right around that same ballpark with software, I think, as well now. So you can't price yourself out, but at the same time, Nintendo can't. It's become clear that what's best for Nintendo is to not compete with Microsoft and Sony because it's not going to. They're not going to come out on top of that, and they need to go into a different direction and capitalize on what they do best. And I mean, let's face it, we are the Nintendo Shack. We are the holy Nintendo Trinity of PSVG. So I don't have complete blind devotion, but I'm always rooting for them to come up with some crazy thing that's going to turn the world upside down and make everyone go, oh my gosh, and I'll be like, yep, told you. So that's what we're waiting for.
That would certainly feel good. So let's throw it to our financial expert over there. Donnie, what do you think about the pricing? What's your guesstimate as far as pricing on this one?
It can't be more than $249.99. That's the max level that I think it can come out and compete with. Mm-hmm. And Jason, I think you're spot on. I think the sweet spot for it's $199.99, considering it's a portable, and it actually can meet that number. I'm not any way, shape, or form thinking it can't meet that number. The Shield console sells for $199.99. That's 2 years old. So if they're using Tegra 1, there's no reason why they can't engineer in a more cheaper version of that in a tablet form and sell it at $199. If they're using Tegra 2, there's no reason why they can't sell it at $199 and proclaim that they're going to make a profit because they're going to sell more than the Shield did. They have a bigger market. There's a lot that goes into economics and pricing. The price of something that sells 30 million units is less than the price of something that sells 8 million units. I loved my Shield. It was a really cool thing to have, but that was never going to set the world on fire in terms of reaching a global market. They don't have the IP that Nintendo does.
No way.
Right. So I think $249 is the most that they can sell it for, not to compete with Sony or PlayStation or any of that reason, just because it's a portable, because it's a tablet, and you can't sell tablets for more than that these days. They just don't sell. So I think that's the highest it will go. I think it's going to come in at $200. That's my expectation. I think it's going to come in at $200. There's a Shield Pro console that has 500 gigabytes of storage inside of it. Oh. I don't know how they do that. Wow. I often wonder if we just pop things open, if people just lie to us, because the Xbox is 20 times the size of this little Shield thing. This Shield thing is not much bigger than a tablet with a case on it, and it's got 500 gigabytes of storage in it, and it's $299. And again, that came out 2 years ago. So, prices always just go down in terms of hardware manufacturing. So I think those price points are going to be spot on. In terms of games, I'm completely excited. I mean, Lacey, you're right. I thought, for the duration of our podcast, when we've talked in X, I've been saying constantly that it's a portable. I felt like it's going to be a portable because that's what Nintendo does well. I mean, that's their bread and butter. That's where they make their bones, or in portables. And, when they came out and said, The Legend of Zelda is confirmed for NX, I started to backtrack off of that because I was like, there's just no way a portable is going to run it. Yeah. But if they're adopting this architecture, there absolutely is a way that it's going to run it. There's no doubt in my mind that they can run the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild on a Tegra 1 chip on a tablet. Yep. I've seen it. That totally can be done. If they go Tegra 2, it could be the best version of the game. Yeah. It could be a better version than the Wii U. And the idea that you could walk around with a Wii U in your pocket is incredible. Yeah. Of all the news I keep hearing, that's the one thing that I feel like nobody is trying. It's almost like they're suppressing it. Yeah. They're like, well, it's not a PS4. It's not meant to be. You can't carry your PS4 with you. The idea that you could walk around with a Wii U in your pocket is, I mean, if Nintendo wants to win back third parties, that's giving third parties a market that they don't have.
That's true.
I mean, people will put games on that just because it's the only portable in the market like that. And I don't see anybody venturing down this path to really compete with Nintendo on this regard. And as far as competing with other tablets, the tablet game is a fickle one because every year iterations are so high. But that's where Nintendo, in my opinion, swings the weight of their IP. An iPad 2 years from now could come out with better processors than whatever this Nintendo tablet will be, but you still can't play Mario Kart on it. Yeah. You can't play, you can't play The Legend of Zelda on it. That's going to drive initial sales. Let us not forget the last time Nintendo launched a console or a product with a Zelda game at launch. Right. It's going to drive sales initially, and I think that's going to bring third parties, especially at launch. I think any good third party, there's a reason why we know Square and Ubisoft have dev kits, because they want to be one of those other games on the shelf when this thing launches. Because they want to be one of those choices that me, Kevin, or Jason make when we buy Legend of Zelda for NX. We're going to pick up something else, so I think there'll be like a Zombie U or something. I think it's pretty neat that Dragon Quest, is it Dragon Quest?
Yep, Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah, and 10.
Yep.
Both confirmed for NX, both running on next-gen hardware, Xbox One, PS4 games. So I doubt in a side-by-side comparison they're going to, stack up or beat out the competition. But again, they're not meant to. This is a portable. I'm going to keep screaming that for the next 8 months until I have this thing in my hands, because I feel like the initial reaction this week on podcasts and websites was to compare it directly to the PS4, and it's not. It's not a console.
No.
It's a portable.
Nintendo has made it clear numerous times that they have no interest in trying to compete with Sony and Microsoft. They want to do their own thing. They're fine with being the quote-unquote gaming third wheel, if you will, as long as the market's there. So they've made that clear, and I think this is a 100% step in the right direction.
Yep. So I'm really excited that on September... let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and call my bet. September 16th. That's a Friday, and I feel like Nintendo likes Fridays. It could be 17th. It'd make more sense of a Saturday, but Nintendo likes Fridays. September 16th at Tokyo Game Show, we're going to get Reggie Fils-Aimé walk out on the stage and go, we've made the most powerful portable gaming console the world has ever seen. That's what he's going to say. This is the most powerful portable gaming device you can buy.
And everyone goes, huh? Because they're in Japan.
But, I mean, do you guys think it's going to launch at Tokyo Game Show?
I think it's a safe bet, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered all the points. It's time to just kind of wrap it up, and I'll give my thoughts. So far, everything shown is very promising. My only hesitation right now is I do want to see more of the games that are coming out, which that's natural for any gamer to want to see. And then just the controllers. What are the controllers really going to look like, and how are they going to function with it on the tablet and when they're broken apart from the tablet? So, But for me, I'm on board. If it's in that, I mean, Donnie, if your price point's on point at the $200 to $250, I am easily on board for this, and I think that would be fantastic. It'd be right in everyone's wheelhouse, I think, for affordability-wise, and they could start maybe getting back some of those people who bought a Wii to come back and buy this one. So it's a win-win. So far, I'm all on board. So it's, like you said, a lot of places are kind of poo-pooing the whole thing so far, and I think they're not thinking about it the right way. You're thinking about, it's going to be my entertainment center in my household. It's going to be my core, multimedia station, and Nintendo hasn't been that. They've never been that. They're never going to be that. They're not interested in it. None of their consoles play DVDs or Blu-rays like all the other ones do, and the graphics, you can say, are not realistic, but Nintendo makes beautiful games without going for realism. So they're continuing to do what they do, and this time it looks like they're probably going to do it better than anybody else ever has as far as that niche market they like to handle. So I'm on board. I'll throw it to Jason next. What do you think? Final thoughts on the NX.
Final thoughts. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the reveal. I'm excited about the prospect of it being affordable, because it very much increases the likelihood that I'll actually be able to purchase it. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually bought a console at launch, so I'm excited about that potential. And really, I need Nintendo. If I know you're going to listen to this, I need to know that pricing, because I've got a birthday coming up, and it's like, do I want to spend some of that birthday money on some 3DS games, or I just want to hoard it all to make sure I can buy the NX? These are my trials and tribulations that I have to get through, But I'm excited about something going in a different direction. It's just new technology, and that gets me pumped. So I'm ready. I need September. Reggie, my body's ready. Make it happen.
Agreed. And, of course, we have to let Donnie have the final say. So in 40 minutes or less, Donnie, what are your final thoughts on the NX?
Nintendo had me at portable. The moment that this thing came out that it was a portable device, I was like, well, whether I like it or not, I'm probably going to buy it and give it a chance. What I think is most interesting is I am now officially ready to backtrack on playing Breath of the Wild on Wii.
Yeah.
The way that game is played, with exploration being a very big topic of it, and, kind of that, I dare say Animal Crossing, but that very, casual game where you just kind of walk around, from what we saw at E3, that lends itself to portable gaming. And you don't want to sit there and play that thing for 8 hours at a time. You want to carry it with you and play it when you can, and where you can. And I now think, yep, that's where I'm going to play that game at. So I'm really excited about the news. I am absolutely terrified that this detachable controller thing that they're doing, if that's weird, This thing could blow up in their
Yep.
face. I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be weird because I think they realize how important this is. And I have faith that they're not going to drop the ball on it. Marketing, on the other hand, I don't have as much faith on. And, I mean, I had to read 9 or 10 different blogs before I could gather, what it is I think this thing is. And they've really got to come out and, they've got to stick to a message and really explain what it is. Don't dance around like I need to see the console, I need a price, I need a date, I need the games. Like, we need all of that. And speaking of the games, and it's incredibly important, if they're going to jump into competing with tablets and smartphone companies while also keeping their Nintendo base by letting us play on our TVs and our portable stuff, boy, they've got to hit some games. They've got to have that game lineup, and it's got to be there at launch. It has to be. I think that's the one thing that they've repeatedly talked about that with Wii U. Constantly, over and over again, they said we didn't have the games to successfully launch a product. Well, they've got to overcompensate this time. We've got to have Zelda. We've got to have something Mario. I'm hoping for something Animal Crossing, hoping for something Pokemon, like right out of the gate. Like, they got to give everybody a reason. Like, this is why you're going to buy this product, because day one you're gonna have 10 games available that you all want to play. So, with all that together, I'm not really concerned about the price. I'm excited to see what the engineered product looks like at the end. It's real easy for me to, vision a tablet, but knowing Nintendo, they'll always have some sort of Nintendo flair on it. So I'm wondering, does it have SNES colors, or is there some weird thing about it? Like, I want to know I want to see it. I got to see it. I want to see what it looks like.
Bring back the GameCube purple.
Yes.
So, there you have it, boys and girls. The opinions of 3 nerdy guys who still love Nintendo after all this time, through the ups and the downs. If any of you guys are looking for us, we'll be holed up in the shack here for the next month or so until Nintendo unveils exactly what the NX is. Luckily, Donnie brought the bottled water. I brought the cans of beans, and Jason brought the beard, so we're all good. So, talk to you later, everybody. Thanks for listening, and remember, never stop gaming.
Thank you for listening to Play Some Video Games, the official podcast.